Craziacs. It's a huge, huge show. In fact, okay, yes, you need to listen to my episode, but then you need to immediately go over to my girl, Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop, because today I am a guest on Juicy Scoop. I have no words. It was a dream come true. You talk about manifesting. When I started my podcast 9 years ago, and I tell this story with Heather today on her show, I went to a podcast network, Podcast One, specifically to be on it because I thought I was going to meet Heather McDonald. Now, meanwhile, the minute Sammy K and I signed that agreement, they never spoke to us again. And then they dropped us a year later for poor ad sales, even though we never had one ad sale. When I tell you I've been a fan of this woman, go and listen today. I am honored. We covered so much, which I'm going to get into, but truly, Heather to me is such an icon in this business. And podcasting 9-10 years ago when Heather started, when we all started, was not a legitimate job. People didn't know where to find a podcast. They certainly didn't take you seriously when you said, you know what, I'm a full-time podcaster. And Heather's show for a decade, which is so difficult to do in this space, has been a top trending podcast, top 200 shows in the world. In order to achieve that, you have to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million listeners per episode. She is just the gold standard in pop culture. I have tried to do a show very similar. I love how Heather gets right into a topic. She gets right into it. She explains it in just complete layman terms. So it's not difficult. It's not complicated. One of her strengths, I think, is she always stays on course. She might divert a little bit, but she always comes back to the point. Her timing is great because, of course, she's a stand-up comedian. So she knows when to move along from a topic, keep going on a topic. We spent nearly an hour and 45 minutes recording in her studio yesterday, and we covered so many topics. I was nervous, and then I was proud of myself that you all have listened to this show and helped me make this a top trending show to get to the point that a Heather McDonald, a Juicy Scoop, and the amazing Juicy Scoop audience would recognize me as a legitimate voice to come on. So we talk about a couple of main things. Kendra, I'm in love with my psychiatrist. If you haven't been following this on TikTok, you will get sucked in. Give yourself an hour. You're going to have to go down the rabbit hole because what started out as like a 16-parter is now a 60-parter, of course, because she knows she can make a boatload of money. And she is just this woman who believes that her psychiatrist allowed her to fall in love with him. And instead of professionally doing the right thing to do, which was, you know what, you seem like you have feelings for me. Let's move on. I'm transferring you. She goes into this deep dive of how all these innuendos and his body language, and he would keep things going in order to self-fulfill his inadequacies and his desire to be narcissistic traits to be fulfilled, and how male therapists are often, she kind of groups them in. And of course she says, not everybody, but most, I know most male therapists get into this field because they're just so messed up. They're deeply missing something. And so they get fulfilled by attention and attraction through their clients. We don't, every male therapist out there must be like, bitch, I don't need you taking away my years and years of therapy. Training. It is Heather, we obviously, we talked a little bit prior about what we were going to talk about, topics and everything. And so she'd asked me if I watch it. And I said, no, I keep seeing these people do parodies. But when I started it, I was so sucked in. And then by the end, I was almost texting Heather, Heather, I hate this woman so much. We had such a great time breaking down the entire Kendra, I'm in love with my psychiatrist. And there's so many funny moments because Kendra doesn't realize they're funny, but she, of course, at one point she realizes, his zodiac sign, and she says because he's a Pisces, of course he's going to lead her on. And then where this story becomes slightly unbelievable is on top of having a psychiatrist to get her ADHD meds, she also has a therapist who also is completely inappropriate despite being in her 70s and being a therapist for years. And this woman, uh, you know, she believes is in cahoots with the male psychiatrist, although there's no evidence that the therapist or the male psychiatrist are, in cahoots or speaking regularly or any of that. But she believes they are in cahoots to keep Kendra, keeping her going to see the psychiatrist, to boost the psychiatrist's ego and to lead her on. And then you find out partway through the series that Kendra never even meets the guy in real life. This is all over Zoom, which, by the way, I know a lot of you are on different ADHD medications, depression medications, all of which are great when you need them. But don't we find that it's odd? Don't you think it's truly odd that a person can prescribe you an ADHD medication without seeing you in person? Doesn't that seem bananas to you? I know telehealth is like a whole thing. I know, look, Rula is an amazing sponsor of mine. Their therapy online. It's more convenient for people. People can do it after hours. I get it. I'm just for someone like Kendra's story where she's been off meds, on meds, doesn't it seem like, I don't know, not great practice to not see your patients in person? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But the series concludes to the point where Kendra, I'm in love with my psychiatrist, ends up turning off all comments because most people are like, and she ends up revealing his name. He's Pakistani. He has a very distinct Pakistani name, first name. She reveals that name. So people have now found him, outed his identity. And she continues to do these videos where she'll say, don't dox him. Guys, I want to tell you right now to stop doxing him. My goal is not to get him fired. It is to raise awareness about my male therapist and how he took advantage of me and groomed me. Now, what the fuck he was grooming her for, I have no clue. But she never removes the video where she uses his first name. It remains up. I just watched the entire series and whatever, episode 10, she drops his first name and never deletes it. So now, of course, like the internet does, there's speculation of if this is real. Is it real? Are these two people in on it? It appears that people have found this guy and he's a legitimate psychiatrist. But the irony is, of course, Kendra is actually a life coach, which that has raised a lot of flags for people. Like, of course, you're a life coach. You're a life coach and yoga instructor. So a lot of people are like, oh, right, of course. So, is she using this as a marketing tactic? She's also changed her settings on TikTok that the only way you can comment is if you pay. So TikTok has rolled out these new subscription features, and if you pay, you can comment on her, her TikTok. And of course, she was getting trolled so badly. People were like, let's hear his side of it. He doesn't seem like he's responding to you in any way, shape, or form, giving you any false hope. One of the big videos is how, he told her that she ended up wearing a pair of tortoise shell glasses, kind of like the ones I'm wearing. You can see them on YouTube, to one of the appointments. And he said, oh, tortoise shell. Oh, those are my favorite. I love a tortoiseshell glasses. I have the pair as well. And she was like, right there, he was keeping me engaged and he knew he was taking advantage of my emotional attachment to him. And it is. Now, look, a lot of people believe her. A lot of people believe her. And she responds to a lot of comments from people who say, I too confessed to my therapist that I was attracted to them and they did not do the legal and ethical thing by getting me a new therapist, by encouraging me to see somebody else. And it's completely wrong and unethical. And Kendra, you're in the right. So a lot of people believe her, but other people, given her job, which is, coaching, believe this is a made up, maybe she actually went to this guy, but she read all these cues completely wrong. He keeps her on as a client for 4 years. He keeps her on Zoom until she ends up calling the office and realizing that he's seeing inpatient people, books an inpatient appointment, and then continues to ask him why he never told her that he sees inpatient people. She goes to give him a hug. He doesn't hug her back. And she believes that's because he wanted, her to try harder and keep, lusting for him. So a lot of people think she's also one of these women that, have you ever had a woman in your life? Of course you have. We've all had that girl in our life who believes everybody wants her. Like everyone wants her. Well, a lot of people believe that's Kendra. So if you have nothing to do today, which of course you do, you're going to listen to Juicy Scoop and TSFS, you can watch this series on TikTok and then enjoy all the parodies because they are so good. But a big thank you to Heather. It was truly a dream come true. And she's one of the best in the business. So I was really honored. Go and listen. Okay, we're going to get into another Sister Wives topic. A family member now from the Sister Wives clan apparently says they're going to be watching Special Forces and reviewing the show. I'll tell you who that is. John and K plus 8. John and K plus 8 making a bit of a comeback. Kate Gosselin, I already told you this, launched her TikTok account for the very first time about 2 weeks ago. Already has almost 200,000 followers. So people are interested in what Kate is up to. The videos are just what you would think. Get ready with me, what she packs for lunch, if her patients recognize her. But there's already drama. Her son Colin, he's one of the two kids that went off and lived with John, has now come out and made a emotional plea to his brothers and sisters. And then John Gosselin is commenting on her TikTok. So we're going to get into all that. And then there's a lot of housewives tea too. Kelly Dodd. Now Kelly Dodd kind of revealing what may have led to the alleged threatening her daughter with a knife. That's up. We'll talk about that and why people are coming for our girl Dorit and making fun of my girl Dorit from RHOBH. Don't be making fun of my girl Dorito, but people are making fun of Dorito today. So Gabe Brown, of course, one of the children of Kody Brown and Janelle, he says that he put up a poll this week, and it looks like it's actually happening, where he wants to review Special Forces. So fans have been going bananas to see if he'll launch a podcast or maybe just simply post on his Instagram. But he put up a poll that asked, how would we like him to review Special Forces? Because, of course, Kody Brown is going to be on it. And he writes, who wants to see me react to season 4 of Special Forces? 99% of his followers said yes. And he said he might have a special guest, which I believe he's referring to as his dog, but I don't know. Maybe he and Kody have made up and Kody Brown could be on it. So fans absolutely want to see it. I think that would be so smart. It's genius. To me, the smartest people in the family are Mykelti and Tony, who run that Patreon. I was a member for a hot second. I like Mykelti and Tony, but I do have to say I did not love the Patreon. It didn't really feel consistent to me for the price. They often canceled the lives, which, I mean, of course they would. They have 3 kids, but I wasn't really feeling it. And then I loved when Gwen had her subscription YouTube, but that also ended. There's so much money in that because there are such Uber fans, rabid Sister Wives fans like you guys are. So why these guys aren't taking fuller advantage of it, I have no idea. But I really hope that Gabe Brown does that because it'd be so genius on his part. Okay, Kate Gosselin and John Gosselin. Now, we touched a little bit on this on Heather's podcast, but you're going to get a lot more when you go and listen to Juicy Scoop today because Heather and I talk more in depth about the Valley, RHOM, RHOC, a lot, like really good stuff. Todd Chrisley, she just has great perspectives. But Kate and John Gosselin are getting a lot more attention again this week because of Kate joining TikTok. And one of the things that Kate is getting attention about is John Gosselin has already said that Kate launched her TikTok and within just a few days of launching her TikTok has already blocked John. Now, are we surprised? Are we? And John Gosselin, I mean, didn't really seem like he cared, but at the same time, he was like a little shocked. He's like, oh, well, she's only been on here a hot second. She doesn't even really know how to use it, but she's already blocked me. Like he was like, oh, guess I won't be seeing my ex-wife's videos. So anyhow, people found that really funny that like the first thing she did was get on and make sure that John Gosselin was blocked. Uh, Almost 200,000 TikTok followers. People are very curious what she's up to. Now, her kids refuse to be on her TikTok, which is interesting, but they'll film her because she'll often say, oh, the people filming do not want to be on camera, but they're filming me right now floating in a river in a tube. And it's like, yeah, they're your kids. They've been through the ringer with you, bitch. Like, yes, they don't want to appear on your TikTok. But she goes through like her day. Get ready with me. She does her makeup routine. She does like her everything, like her lunch routine, her protein shake, if her patients recognize her, which she's a pediatric kind of like a pediatric nurse, but for kids that are severely disabled. She goes into the home, she caretakes for them, administers medication, and essentially gives the family a break so they can go off, do what they need to do, and she will take care of the severely disabled child, right? She says that patients recognize her. You know, some of them do. They already know who she is. Everybody's totally cool. So, in addition to her getting a lot of attention on social media, now her son Colin has penned a heartbreaking message to his estranged siblings after being forced apart. If you remember, Kate and John Gosselin's son Colin released an emotional statement to his 7 siblings, and Colin was the one that Kate had allegedly labeled as troubled, had sent him off to like a psychiatric ward when he was in high school. And whatever she did ended up impacting. He couldn't go into the military. He was really upset about that. And he's always lived his life with John, separated from his 5 other siblings because his one other sister lived with them. So he posted on TikTok with the comeback of Kate, a throwback photo with his siblings. And he says, born to be a team, us against the world, he wrote atop the photo. In the second photo, Colin wore sunglasses while driving a car. Forced to do it alone and wonder every day what our lives could have looked like, he wrote atop the pic, which was accompanied by Adele's song, Hometown Glory. Forced apart, pitted against each other, Colin captioned the post, all the fame and money in the world, but what about kids being kids? So a lot of people saying like they hope that these guys, now that the kids are older. Colin wrote of twin sisters, Madeline and Kara, who are now 24, by the way. And fellow sextuplets, Alexis, Leah, Hannah, Aiden, and Joel are 21. The tears I shed behind closed doors, thinking about the memories we could have shared. I love you guys. Colin completed his heartbreaking post before adding a red heart emoji. The reality star had no shortage of sympathy in the comments, with fans praying that they can break free of John and Kate and come back together and form a relationship. That is so sad. It is so sad. It's such a bummer, the fallout of reality television. And, you know, certainly John has gone on to live his life. He's a popular DJ in the Pennsylvania area. Kate's obvious, you know, she's a nurse. She's making a living. But, you know, all that money, because they've done like a catch-up show. I mean, they were making so much money and they have really nothing to show for it. And a completely fractured, damaged family. It's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. So a lot of people commenting on those stories. Let's move on to RHOBH and what appears to be 2 major teases that New Jersey could be coming back. Now, as you guys know, David Yontef joins me. He's the podcast host from Behind the Velvet Rope every Thursday and Saturday. And we recap all the gossip, all the Bravo team. So, and he's also a New Jersey expert. So I will get his opinion on what he thinks about this, but I will get to that. I'll start with the Dorit picture because poor Dorit is getting trolled like crazy. But a lot of people believe 2 big signals that Real Housewives of New Jersey is coming back and that Andy Cohen is going to announce the cast and the return at BravoCon, which is just like 2 months away in November. But the picture of Dorit here in Beverly Hills that's getting so much talk, it just surfaced this week. RHOBH is filming, and Dorit is walking down in Beverly Hills, like Rodeo Drive, which is fabulous to go, by the way. I mean, I don't want to spend a nickel there. Like, I want everything for free. But if you have a lot of money, it's the best place on earth to shop. She's walking down Rodeo with like 6 Hermes bags, giant Hermes bags, little Hermes bags, and she is decked out in necklaces, all from Chanel. I mean, she looks like $1,000,000, as Dorit always usually does. She's, I mean, she's got that like tiny body. She's like a tall cigarette. Just gorgeous. Chanel, I mean, and she's with a producer. And excuse me, she has 2 giant Hermes bags and then one that almost looks like maybe a Gucci or something else. And she's carrying a Birkin. So, I mean, right there, she's probably got over $100,000 to $200,000 worth of jewelry on, bags, things that she's bought. And the comments are brutal. People want to know how much tissue paper she stuffed into the bags. People want to go, people are like, oh my God, she bought these bags off eBay and she's filming. They believe that the necklaces are fake. I mean, this comes because there's a lot of rumor that, she and PK don't have as much money as they have led everybody on to believe. But if you see this picture on your Facebook or your Instagram, treat yourself to the comments. I love Dorito. I think she's making well over $600,000 a season on Beverly Hills. According to PK, he has plenty of money. Their house in Encino is not in foreclosure. It's just he has been refinancing with the bank. He doesn't want to pay the insane mortgage prices that they have. And so there was some late payments, but they have plenty of money. And, the rumor is Dorit makes so much money from Beverly Hills that PK wants spousal support from her. So we shall see. But anyway, my girl Dorit, I love her. She looks like $1,000,000, but people do not think she has 2 nickels to rub together. And they're like, girl, stop playing. What are you doing with these Hermes bags you bought off eBay? And they're like, there ain't nothing but a pair of TJ Maxx heels stuffed in there. Okay, is New Jersey returning? 2 big signals. 2 big signals you need to run. Read the tea leaves. I will also get Miss Yantif on here to weigh in what she believes. Joe Gorga teamed up with Dorinda, did a charity event this past week in New Jersey. Goes, we're so back. People read that as like, why would he be saying that at a charity event? Something to do with Bravo. And he wrote, we're so back. And a lot of people believe he is signaling to the fact that RHONJ is coming back. Now, people like kind of thought, okay, Joey Gorga, we see you. Like, we see what you're up to. Maybe this is some fun innuendo. And this, Gorga attended Dolores's annual charity softball game in Brooklyn, where he declared we're back to fans. Okay, so there's Dolores, there's Joe. And then Margaret Josephs shared a back post of her own promoting a reaction from fans and followers that people now believe is a huge potential tease for New Jersey returning and the announcement of the Jersey cast at BravoCon. Josephs just put up on her Instagram, current mood. She captioned her August 10th post, which saw her on a staircase posing next to a piece of the Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch of the West, as she included the hashtag, the witch is back. People went crazy. Crazy in the comments. So happy you're back. I hope it is what I think it is. Please, please, please. Are you guys coming back? Yeah, declared another fan. RHONJ, question mark, one person wondered. This better be what I think it is, wrote another fan. Both Joe Gorga and Margaret were saturated with comments that they are back. So we'll see. We'll get David Yantif's hot take on that. I mean, is Teresa coming back with Louis? Did Trey and Louis film, but just not with the group, and we followed their tax stuff? And the daughters and Gia? Or are they out? I mean, we're going to see what happens. So we'll get David's take. But I would say, these guys are good at teasing things, but they're also good at getting attention. So, we've always heard the rumor that Bravo wanted to keep Dolores. So I tend to believe Joe Gorga's back for sure. Melissa, Dolores. I don't know about Miss Josephs, but we will see. It would not shock me if there was a combination of that cast that came back. Before I get into Kelly Dodd dropping a major hint as to what led to she and Jolie's alleged knife incident, I just want to remind you that my Go Big podcasting courses are on sale. Use the code SUMMERFUN15 all summer long, 15% off, and you could begin your very amazing podcast. That's how Heather started. Heather actually talks about the launch of Juicy Scoop because we were talking about being OG podcasters on her show today. So go and listen. But if you've always wanted a Juicy Scoop pod, now's the time. Like Heather and I talk about now, the only reason people get into podcasting is because there's so much money in it. So do it for a hobby. Do it and become a stay-at-home mom like I am and the breadwinner of your family. Go to gobigpodcasting.com. Now, these courses are very in-depth. When you buy them, by the way, Podcasting 101 is $9. Six-figure master plan, which is the roadmap. That's how and where people are posting their show, how many commercials they're adding to their podcast, how often, frequently they're publishing. I think I said that. If they're launching Patreons or not. That's the roadmap I wish I'd had when I started 9 years ago. So gobigpodcasting.com. Use the promo code SUMMERFUN15. Six-figure master plan is $900, but obviously less with the promo code. And they are very, very detailed. Videos, exercises, step-by-step guide. And you do get access to my team. So if you have any questions, you can leave it there in our portal. We always strive to get back to you very, very quickly. And we're constantly updating and adding to the courses as well. So go to gobigpodcasting.com. Kelly Dodd is hinting at a video she posted over the weekend as to what happened between she and Jolie. Now, her brother, Eric Meza, came out on social media 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he is the one that kicked up this whole hornet's nest. Nobody in their family speaks to Kelly and Rick. She needs mental help. He went on David Yontif's Behind the Velvet Rope podcast. He said Kelly's possessed, they believe. Look, this is legit. By some demon spirit or whatever. And nobody speaks to her. She needs an intervention for alleged alcohol abuse, perhaps pills, and whatever mentally is going on with her. Same with Rick. Rick doesn't speak to his daughter. And then Eric went on to allege that Kelly came after Jolie with a knife. And Kelly, to my knowledge, hasn't really denied this. She's certainly come after Eric, basically saying that Eric lies. Kelly, in fact, speaks to her dad. This is all BS. And yeah, she says that Eric is full of it. However, over the weekend, Kelly put up a video and she says, hypothetically for a friend, I want to know, what would you tell someone who their daughter called them a see you next Tuesday and threatened them? And a lot of people believe, and Kelly sort of hints like, okay, hypothetically for a friend. And by saying that a couple of times, a lot of people believe that is Kelly referring to her own child. Kelly spoke of a kid calling her mother a see you next Tuesday and throwing keys at them, as Eric shared an additional video in which he alleged that Kelly had gone after Jolie with a knife and seemingly hinted at a future lawsuit. Quick question, she wrote. If your kid called you a see you next Tuesday and threw keys at you, what would you do? Just asking for a friend, Dodd posted on her video. What would you do if your child called you a see you next Tuesday? Just asking. Kelly has since deleted the clip, which was shared on TikTok. It is now gone. A lot of people believe that was the catalyst for the fight. Eric says that Kelly and Jolie do not speak. Jolie has disowned her, and that's it. Eric says that he's going to continue to speak out if Kelly wants to go there. If they continue the lies, Eric will continue. And he says that he could sue her for a lot of things, for defamation for sure, he has stated. He then threatened the leaking of even more information about the former RHOC cast member. The more she puts out there, the more I'm going to put out there as well, he said. And it can get really ugly. It's already ugly right now, but it's going to get ugly, he warned. I can't seem to get away from talking about them. Maybe I need other topics. Something about Kelly and Rick. Something about, find them interesting too. Discuss. Okay. Tomorrow on the show, welcome to Platteville, Season 7, Episode 4 recap. Thursday is David Yontif. Friday, I'll give a baby update for you guys, following my 43-year-old, 43 years young, with a 26-year-old egg donor. How is it going? I am 11 weeks today, so I'm waiting for my NIPT results and a lot more. So I'll give you an update on how all that is going. Saturday, David Yontif returns, and then Sunday, we play a best of. Subscribe to TSFS everywhere you get your podcasts. Bye, everybody.